that question was just so cursed that my internet was like, you're in timeout for a minute. Welcome to Wow If True, the podcast of your wildest memes.
We talk about niche internet fame, interview people who are making it on the internet, and chart our own misguided quest for online attention. I'm Isabel.
And I'm Amanda. Anyone can be famous on the internet, so why not us?
Wait a second, I'm not Isabel. Wait a minute.
Or are you?
I'm Isabel's VTuber.
Anyway, this is Eric Silver, our friend of the pod, past guest, podcast guiding spirit. Introduce yourself.
I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to not just talk about inside baseball. Let's talk about the internet at large. Yeah, man. Head of creative at Multitude, DM of Join the Party, love memes, will guest on your podcast for food. I'll be here.
I have not given you food, but at some point, if you are in the Philadelphia area, I will indeed give you food.
Oh, I will show up to your house and you will feed me, and I'll be very excited about it.
Nice.
Did you see the photos of the chicken soup and matzo balls that I made yesterday?
I did see, and I was very excited.
I feel like Thanos, where I've discovered that I can make matzo balls whenever I want very easily. So I'm like, all this power.
They're really not that hard to make, but it feels like such a seasonal thing and such like a special thing.
I got the Straits matzah meal. Every so often, my dad wants me to like come over and do stuff. And then like he lives in the middle of the suburbs outside of New York City. Like he lives out in Westchester. And then every single time we go to a kosher restaurant in Queens or like in Riverdale, like in the Bronx. And I'm like, why did you tell me to come out? And then I'm going to have to come back in, but in a weirder place. So we ended up going to this like kosher Chinese place in Queens, and then there was like a kosher grocery store across the street, and I was looking around in it and I got like the real good shit. So I still have one more packet left so I can make more after this, but it's just matzah meal, 2 eggs, and a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and then you boil it.
This is also the Jewish episode of Wow If True.
Yeah, it is.
I've mentioned this on the podcast before, of course, because I always mention this, but did you know that I lived in Laos?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, I might have mentioned it once or twice in any conversation I've had with anyone ever, but my parents came to visit me partway through, and I did have them bring me matzo ball mix because
nice.
Another Jewish person I knew who was living in Laos wanted it, and then I also wanted it. And surprisingly, you can't get matzo ball soup materials in Laos. Wonder why? Weird. Anyway, so obviously Eric is not Isabel, but Isabel has sent a speech.
Oh my God.
Just to hype you up to assume your role.
Incredible. I'm ready.
Eric. Or should I say Is? I'm gonna call you Is. It'll help you get into character.
I already am. So you nailed it. Both Isabel and I knew I would call myself Isabel, which I appreciate.
You've been given a tough job replacing me, but it is one I'm gonna make sure you're prepared for. First, you're gonna want to roll your character sheet. Now you're a level 13 wizard, and I'm kidding. Actually, first, you're gonna want to read all of Homestuck, and you can't skip Act 5 to get to the trolls. Kidding again, don't read Homestuck. Actually, true for real first, you're gonna want to come up with a killer introduction. Something like, "Hi, I'm Iz, your podcast foreign correspondent." Or, "Hi, I'm Iz, your guy who drank too many boat drinks and no longer remembers how to podcast." Isabel's been on a lot of boats, drinking a lot of things on this vacation, and I'm jealous.
I'm truly so jealous. Also, boat drinks is the One Piece AU that I've invented for myself.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure somebody will. Second, you're gonna have to roast Amanda constantly. Already did that because I mentioned Laos.
Yep.
Shift your mind into roasting mode. I'm sorry, Amanda, this is non-negotiable. You know it's true. This is fucking crucial to our dynamic and the energy we've created in this podcast space. Third, you're gonna have to get really goth. Specifically, you're going to have to listen to a lot of My Chemical Romance and wear a lot of black.
Oh, like I already am not doing that. Like I don't put pop punk on at all times. Come on.
Well, I mean, you're currently wearing red, it appears, but...
It's burgundy, which is goth red.
Yeah, that is goth red. Fourth and finally, Eric, are you listening? You're going to have to learn a really good Valley Girl accent.
Of course I knew. The real thing that you have to do is just do a lot of vocal fry, which changes a lot of things. Like, it's a little bit different because I'm not like an LA Valley girl. I'm like someone who lived on the Upper East Side and thinks Gossip Girl is real.
I mean, honestly, Gossip Girl is real.
It is real. It's real in our hearts, which is
You're doing an Emily Slaughter. That's a joke that a couple people will get.
Listen to my podcast. Everyone go listen to my podcast.
Speaking of which, I wanted to do an Eric's internet fame update. So, are you famous on the internet yet?
No, but at this point, thank God, right? I think the last time that I've been on here, I mean, nothing monumental has happened in like the shifting of our ideas of internet shit, but I think that like maybe it's gotten even worse and maybe the McElroys have fallen even more, that I'm like, I don't want this. The thing that I realized the most is like, I've talked about a lot in the previous episode, how happy I am that I have this job that I do, as more media people get laid off constantly, as people still have to do terrible jobs for terrible managers. And like, you know, I'm full-time working as a podcast person and I'm like only below Amanda McLaughlin in Multitude. She's the CEO. And the thing that I always say is the best part of my job is that I can never get laid off. Like if we fail, we fail. But no one's going to say, hey, you don't have a job anymore. And like I believe that even more so now. I would much rather have this job than have 100,000 followers is something that I felt very clear about in so many ways, especially in tabletop RPG Twitter that I'm kind of a part of. Like you see these people who have massive followers and they're like, yeah, I'm at my day job and it sucks and I might get COVID, but like so glad all of you love playing my tabletop RPG that I've sold a lot. And I'm like, that's such a bummer. I'm so sorry.
I definitely feel that too. I think also like my mindset about the internet has changed a little bit since we started the podcast, which is basically when you were on, because you were on like right at the beginning. Because also when we started the podcast, I was full-time freelancing and my income depended on people answering my emails and saying, yes, I will pay you to do labor. And now that is not so much my situation anymore. And I turned off my Twitter push notifications. Last night I turned off my email push notifications, partially because you and Amanda were like, why do you have your email push notifications on? And I was like, good point.
I do too, and I should turn them off. We have a whole thing about like, it's so weird that business is now based on email, which is epistolary, literally electronic mail. So like you can wait to respond to an email because it's not an instant message.
Also, like 90% of the emails I get nowadays are people being like, hey, check out my startup.
Ugh. At the risk of like contaminating you, I would love for you to like round up all of the podcast startups that are out there, because like every single podcast startup doesn't actually want to usurp anything because Apple and Spotify have such a vice grip on the entire thing that they're really just like, hey, I'm making something and buy me. Like I'm waiting for Spotify to buy me. And I would love just like rounding up all of this and like on a scale of 1 to 5 Spotify bags of money, how successful is this company going to be?
Yeah, no, I mean, Spotify does acquire a lot of podcasting companies. Speaking of your internet fame, so you did cross 5,000 Twitter followers, which last time you were like, I don't even have 5,000 Twitter followers, and now you do, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's cool. It didn't change my life at all, but like cool.
Also, Join the Party hit 5 million downloads, and I did the math, and that means that if we go by downloads of podcasts that we host alone, you are approximately 876.27 times more famous than me.
That doesn't work because there's like a time quotient involved. It needs to be like per capita.
I just like the math. I just think it's funny.
I think it's fun. I'm just saying your math is bullshit. If this was baseball, there needs to be like an ERA involved somewhere here.
I feel like maybe both of us, since the last time we recorded, we're a little soured on the idea of getting famous. However, we are both still Tauruses, which means that we need attention at all times.
I would like attention and pillows at all times, 100%. Here's what a Taurus wants. A Taurus wants to sit on a couch with leftovers because you cooked it a few days before, and then people are texting you so that you know that you are loved and you will respond and make funny jokes to that, but you don't have to generate conversation.
Honestly, that's like the majority of how I spend my life.
And that's why we're doing it.
Anyway, so our corners of the internet. I feel like the obvious thing to talk about would be the OnlyFans debacle, but in a very comic twist in my life, I actually talked about this in depth on a finance podcast called Equity.
Woo!
Woo! So listen to that if you want the super in-depth lowdown on what happened with OnlyFans, including like venture capital and credit card company analysis. It's wild.
If there is something that we did learn from the internet is that all companies are actually motivated by finance. Remember, OnlyFans did this because their VC people were like, hey, we don't like sex because we're Puritans, apparently. So that's why they did it. And then everyone got mad. And then they remembered that they make all of their money from boobs.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, lol, that's fine. Unsurprisingly, they reversed the thing when everyone got yelled at them and got mad at them, and they realized the revenue actually came from these people who were then yelling at them.
Yeah, the OnlyFans pitch deck to get venture capital should just be boobs.
Do you have it?
Oh, no, I wish I did. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. I want that. Because that's like, I present Amanda McLaughlin, my partner. If I had that, that's like presenting her like a gift. You know how like someone goes to K, the man gets the woman a fucking bracelet that has a bunch of diamonds on it? That's me for giving Amanda the OnlyFans VC pitch deck.
Honestly, I think that would be great, and I completely support that.
Oh my God, he went to Jared and got her the VC deck. It's a good podcast, guys. This is a good podcast.
This is a good podcast.
Can I do my quick hits first? Because I have like a few very small ones, and we can do yours really, really in depth. Just some really quick hits. I could have talked about Donda, but it's such a mess I don't really understand. The thing I really learned is that there is a robust Kanye West community on Reddit, which keeps popping up in my popular, and I'm like, what? You guys need lives. I'm so sorry for you that you are dependent on something so ridiculous. I also could be talking about how Lizzo said that Usher was the king of R&B and the internet melted down, but everyone go read the cover story from Vulture on Succession Season 3. You get a lot of like actors being actory. You get a lot of like very fun. Succession is great. Also, I found 2 like snide remarks about The Ringer in that article, which I thought was real interesting. And it's a very Eric only thing. Like I had my English major hat on and I'm like, wait a second, there's this and there's this reference. Because The Ringer also, and Bill Simmons especially, was like, oh man, the Succession is great. It like found its footing after the 3rd episode. Like, and they promoted it a fuck ton the first season, like a few years ago at The Ringer. And like they've mentioned how The Ringer, both Jesse Armstrong and someone at HBO have bristled at like The Ringer turning Succession into like a basketball game where you like root for people, and that saying that they found their footing after a few episodes. And I was just like, oh shit. So everyone go read that article and watch Succession.
We love to point out the snide remarks aimed at media companies owned by Spotify.
Yes, we do. 5 out of 5 Spotify money back.
Also, just like rich people being wild, that is also going on right now because the Elizabeth Holmes trial is starting this week.
Sure.
Which means that I spent this weekend watching the HBO documentary about Elizabeth Holmes, and then I read like half of the book Bad Blood this weekend.
The book is good. Like, you can tell that there are striations of Elizabeth Holmes content. Like, the book is best, and then the TV show, and then the podcast, which is just restating the shit that should have been in the book.
But speaking of Elizabeth Holmes...
Speaking of blood, Amanda, speaking of blood!
That's where I was going with it. I'm a professional podcaster who can nail a transition. Speaking of blood...
There it is.
You know what's going on in my corner of the internet?
Tell me.
Blood. So, I'm gonna show you a video, actually.
Oh, man. Here we go.
And because The Ringer can do it, I'm gonna just insert the audio into the podcast, because if The Ringer can get away with it, so can I.
Hey, what's up? I'm Tony Hawk, and I recently...
Oh my god, why is there needle first
Liquid
thing?
Death Mountain Water. Apparently I didn't read the fine print, and now Liquid Death officially owns my soul. And my blood, too? I don't know, it's very confusing. They're taking my blood, and we're gonna use it for skateboard graphics. So they're gonna mix my blood into the paint and do a limited run of skateboards using my real blood in the graphics. But some of the profits will go towards killing plastic pollution and to...
I love this pivot to, like, humanitarianism.
Yeah, so I guess go to liquiddeath.com to get...
Tony Hawk looks so old.
He's very old now.
So wait, if you have my blood, that means you have my DNA.
Get the Liquid Death skateboard and
honestly, this is the best part.
Real Tony Hawk
I love
today.
it.
Wow, you can own your very own piece of Birdman, but hurry, supplies are extremely limited. So visit liquiddeath.com/hawkblood right now.
Liquid Death /Hawkblood is very funny.
Liquid Death is a water company.
Yeah.
I assumed it was like an energy drink when I first saw that, but they're selling canned water.
But like in a cool way. It's cool. Like I think that if you don't understand what they're doing, you'd be like, why are they trying to be such fucking weirdos and posers? But then you're like, no, they made their water look like beer cans, like intense beer cans or energy drinks, so that you wouldn't feel pressured to drink beer all the time. You can hold something that looks like a beer can.
Although if your friends are pressuring you to drink beer or energy drinks all the time, then you could say, hey, no.
The only thing I smoke are cats like you on the b-ball court.
So Tony Hawk is selling these blood skateboards with liquid death for $500 each. And as he just kind of slid in the video, the profits are going toward reducing plastic pollution because apparently recycling the aluminum liquid death cans is better for the environment than recycling like a plastic water bottle.
Sure.
Also building skate parks in underserved communities. So yay, Tony Hawk.
Shout out to Tony Hawk.
But of course, then a meme happened, as we know from past episodes of WoW True, as well as being a person on the internet. Lil Nas X also recently sold his blood. And actually, I don't think it was Lil Nas X's blood. I think it was just human blood that was injected into Nike Air Max 97s that were modified by Mischief and turned into quote-unquote Satan shoes. And they had no affiliation with Nike, but then Nike got really mad about it because they were like, we don't endorse Satan and Lil Nas X and blood, and now it's a whole thing. So the @rap Instagram, apparently that's a thing, they posted about this and they were like, what do you think? And then Lil Nas X said, nah, he tweaking. And now everybody on the internet is saying, nah, he tweaking.
Lil Nas X is a force for good, and it's a real bummer that it's being pointed at Tony Hawk, but, like, the dude's right. Like, wow, you guys really all freaked out because when I did blood, but now you think it's really chill when Tony Hawk does blood. Whether or not, like, very much removed around, like, whose idea was it, whether or not it's as art or as, like, a charity drive sort of thing, it's just like, yeah, you guys were real dicks to me because I'm gay and black, but you love the godfather of skateboarding video games, I guess.
Yeah, and I can't even play the new Tony Hawk Switch game because it makes my head hurt.
Oh no.
I know.
Well.
I can play it in like 20-minute increments, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Lil Nas X also reacted to this in the same way that you did, Eric. You and Lil Nas X are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Lil Nas X tweeted, now that Tony Hawk has released skateboards with his blood painted on them and there was no public outrage, are y'all ready to admit y'all were never actually upset about the blood in the shoes and maybe you were mad for some other reason?
Man, was ever anyone actually trying to say that the thing that was mad was the blood on the shoes? But, like, there was a direct line between blood on shoes and devil. Like, it was always like, you gay, therefore you're going to hell. Like, that was always the thing. Bigots are not smart enough to, like, really cloak that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think people were mad about the blood. They were mad because Lil Nas X is gay and black and made a music video where he pole dances in hell, which is a very good music video. So then over the weekend, Tony Hawk was at a ribbon cutting ceremony in Salt Lake City for a new Vans street skating course.
Incredible.
That's just what you do with your weekend when you're Tony Hawk.
Sorry. Guys, I gotta go to Salt Lake City. Sorry.
And so a reporter from KSL.com, which is apparently a Salt Lake City local news station, asked Tony Hawk about Lil Nas X, and Tony Hawk said that the idea came from Kiss, not Lil Nas X. Do you know about Kiss and their blood?
No, but I can only imagine.
So apparently in 1977, members of the band Kiss donated their blood to be used in red ink in a Kiss comic book issued by Marvel.
I mean, yeah. Like, for sure. Yeah. Oh, God. This is the problem with the internet, right? Let's fucking get down to it. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's get down to brass tacks. I'm Isabel, Homestuck. Is that it's not that Tony Hawk said that Lil Nas X was wrong. He didn't. It's that he probably didn't know enough about what was happening. He's not online enough to have had a formal opinion about this. So he said, which is true, probably he was inspired by Kiss. Older dude cares about Kiss. We don't care about Kiss. Fair. Fine.
I did once have to do content marketing about Kiss.
Right. That's the extent of how much we care about Kiss.
I got $200. It was great.
Incredible. Perfect. So it's not that Tony Hawk said Lil Nas X sucks. It's that he said the thing that was true, which is that it doesn't have anything to do with them. But of course, the internet collapsed the discourse and said, wow, they're against each other, while Lil Nas X was saying something very true about the people who were shitting all over him on the internet and everywhere. But because the internet, it was collapsed, and now it's like you would imagine the fucking clickbait headline, right? Like, Tony Hawk disses Lil Nas X, takes blood inspo from Kiss.
Like, Tony Hawk really is just like an old guy who probably genuinely was thinking about Kiss and wasn't keeping up with the discourse. And Yeah, this is the problem with the internet. And then this also happened with OnlyFans, where like a big part of it was that credit card companies were changing policies about what people can use their credit cards to buy things for.
Which is bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
But, the capitalist machine.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But even that, I feel like with the OnlyFans discourse, also people were comparing OnlyFans to Tumblr, which I just think is fundamentally it's like an apples and oranges situation where like, yeah, Tumblr banned porn and then they lost 30% of their users and haven't gained that 30% back. But people that were posting porn on Tumblr, like maybe they were monetizing by being like, donate to my whatever, but they weren't like making money directly on Tumblr.
The thing everyone knows about Tumblr is that there's absolutely no way, other than for like 1 year in like 2012, to turn your Tumblr into a book. There's no way to make money on Tumblr. Absolutely not. I know. It's like when people forget that there's money involved, then everything looks the same.
Yeah, which we know that Tumblr does nothing for you because Isabel routinely will get like 40,000 notes on a Tumblr post and it doesn't affect our podcast whatsoever.
Right. But then again, that's tied all the way back to the thing in the beginning that it's like, it's very similar with Twitter. I think that people think that Twitter is connected to fame because the people who have the most followers are usually celebrities who make money in other ways, or reporters or writers or something else. So they're making money in a different way. But like, again, a retweet does not put $1 in my pocket. And like, I'm okay with that at this point.
Yeah, and there are crypto startups that are trying to make that happen, but Eric is doing a thumbs down.
2 thumbs down, like the Mets. At the risk of diverting away from the blood conversation, do you know what happened with the Mets? That was the other thing happening in the corner of the internet?
No, because my only connection to baseball internet at this point is just how Phillies fans get really mad whenever the Phillies do anything, including win.
Very similar. The Phillies and the Mets are simpatico in that way. So the Mets have been doing really poorly lately. And of course, much like Philadelphia fans and Mets fans, lots of booing has been happening lately. So I think in a game on Sunday, very recently, when a bunch of the guys hit home runs, they turned around to the crowd and gave them thumbs down. And apparently the explanation was because when they do badly, they get booed. So the players, when they do well, they boo the audience. They boo the fans, which is like the most fucking ridiculous Mets ass thing to do. And I just find it very funny. And I think it is really just like they're trolling the fans. You don't understand how much of trolls baseball players specifically are, but all professional athletes are, because like your job is really weird and you're stuck with these guys and you're just like kind of ruminating on it. There are so many games in a baseball season, over 100, like
162, I believe.
God, I thought it was like 120, and that literally is making my heart hurt knowing that it's 162. So like they're just kind of trolling a little bit, and it's becoming a whole kerfuffle right now. And if anyone cares about any of the baseball things that we've been saying, go listen to Tipping Pitches. It is an incredible baseball podcast, and it's incredibly lefty, and they talk the most about workers and unions. So you should everyone go listen to that. It's a great podcast, and I don't even like baseball.
So last thing about the blood, because like the blood, sweat, and tears you put into baseball, which also baseball is a portmanteau of baseball and blood, fun fact. So The Cut published an article in response to this called "Why Are Celebrities So Obsessed with Their Own Blood?" And just some things I learned from the article was that apparently Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton used to wear blood necklaces when they were married between 2000 and 2003. And also now Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are doing the same thing.
Weird. Ugh.
Would you wear Forbes 30 Under 30 media luminary Amanda McLaughlin's blood?
That feels like I'm trying to conjure, like, hey, look at this business hack. If you wear a Forbes 30 Under 30 a person's blood around your neck, you get a 10% buff to your business acumen. No, absolutely not. No, I would not. No. Oh no, did you freeze? You done froze. After I said no too many times, and I feel like I cursed you to the shadow realm. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, no, I think that question was just so cursed that my internet was like, you're in timeout for a minute. Speaking of cursed things, like me asking Eric if he'd wear his partner's blood, we have to atone for our internet sins because next week is Yom Kippur.
Very soon. These are shout out to all of our agnostic Jews out there. Just so you know, Rosh Hashanah starts the night of September 8th and Yom Kippur starts the night of September 15th. And this is our most Jewish episode ever on Wow If True. So we got to atone for our sins.
What do you think is one of your internet sins this year?
Well, first I want to talk a little bit about the difference between apologizing as a Jewish person and apologizing maybe as a general American or a Christian. The thing about apologizing as a Christian is that you apologize, and the idea of like Christian grace is that like no matter how bad it is that they've done shit to you, you just need to say, no, it's fine. I forgive you. I take your apology. You know, because like Jesus forgave everyone for fucking them up so bad. But on Yom Kippur, you need to go to the actual thing or person who you've hurt and like contritely actually apologize. They only have to accept it if you actually do a good job. So I think that like, I know we're trying to deal with this like in a nice way, but like I've been thinking about this a little bit. I'm like, there are some people I probably should apologize to who I've wronged, and maybe I'll go to them. We'll see. But like, that's why Yom Kippur is important, and that's why we're doing this. So you have to go to these people, Raltz, and you have to apologize.
Okay. Well, I guess first I have to apologize to the musician Soccer Mommy. One time I tweeted that Soccer Mommy has a bad band name, which honestly, I just think it's a bad band name. I think it's really chuggy. And Soccer Mommy responded. I don't remember what she said. I think she was just like, oh, or like LOL, or like something like that. And I was like, why did I tweet that?
Yeah.
I didn't need to come for Soccer Mommy. I don't have an opinion about her music one way or another. Like, it's fine. But I'm grateful for Soccer Mommy's band name because I believe Soccer Mommy performed at a Bernie Sanders rally.
Sure.
And then now there is a video clip, which I can also insert and not get sued because The Ringer does it, so can I.
Incredible.
Of Bernie Sanders saying,
"Let me thank Soccer Mommy for the music."
And it's really good.
We are both Jews here, so you can do that Bernie Sanders impression you've been sitting on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bernie Sanders is basically just like all of my relatives in a composite, except he's much more lefty than my relatives, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I want to apologize to TikTok because I, at various times, have been like, I don't understand TikTok. I don't get what it is. I feel like the videos are too long. I wish it was Vine. And here's the thing. Vine also sucked, but in different ways. And I feel like I am being shitting on TikTok just because it's for young people. And then I'm like, Vine is still like some guy in Seattle who makes like $200,000 a year and like does improv and plays tennis on the weekends. And like, I'm like, no, this guy is better than Gen Z. And like, I shouldn't do that. I just kind of like the restriction more. And I think I just don't get it, especially because I keep finding myself watching Instagram Reels like blindly. And like Instagram Reels are such the corporate bullshit version of TikTok. And like, I know it's bad for me. It is the mental equivalent of eating like if Cheetos were even worse for you, and like I still find myself doing it. And I feel like I've said bullshit stuff about TikTok, and like I'm still not going to make any content, and I know it's good. Like I should just use the app, but I'm sorry for slandering TikTok as I've talked.
I mean, I'll have to talk to TikTok and see if they're willing to accept the apology, but I do think that there is genuinely like good educational content on TikTok.
Yes.
I really like cleaning TikTok and cooking TikTok because I'm old.
No, I love cooking. I love cooking content. I really do. Yeah. And I'm realizing that I'm getting like the shitty version of it on Instagram Reels. And I'm like, I should just invest the time, get the algorithm to learn me, and just like get what I want on TikTok.
Well, you can also watch cooking videos on OFTV, which is the OnlyFans Safe for Work app that has cooking videos from OnlyFans creators. I'm not making this up. This is real.
Incredible. I'll do that instead.
And then I also want to apologize because somebody tweeted me because they were upset because they thought that I like referenced an article they wrote and then didn't cite them. And that wasn't the case. And their claims about this were very flimsy. And I think that they were just mad that like because I had more of a platform, my article got attention and theirs didn't.
Sure.
And I feel like I could have responded and said something nice to like make them feel better or whatever, but I didn't respond. And instead, then I went to my friend's house and watched High School Musical 2, and then I tweeted a poll about whether High School Musical 2 or Twilight is a better baseball movie.
I saw that. That's very good. I will say that I think that you did the right thing. You didn't flame them. You didn't tear them up. And I feel like if we were going to like 7 Deadly Sins, the internet, I think like wrath is definitely like flaming someone someone who has wronged you on the internet. And I'm glad that you chose not to. So, like, you didn't engage, and I think that was smart.
Yeah, I did feel bad because I'm like, is this person just trying to get a rise out of me, or do they want me to be like, hey, you did a good article?
I don't think they want anything. That's the thing, is like I see Twitter as people pouring their id into something. Like, they don't want anything. They just want to be mad. And like, that wasn't you. It's just like, again, the internet flattens everything. You think everyone sees everything and they don't. And maybe I should try to keep that in mind when I get fucking pissed.
Maybe. But I was just like, as I was tweeting that poll, I was like, is this person who's mad at me gonna see it and be like, damn, she ignored me and then tweeted a poll about whether High School Musical 2 or Twilight is a better baseball movie? Which also, do you have an answer to this?
No.
Okay, well, I think Twilight is a better baseball movie.
I think Twilight is a better baseball movie.
Okay, glad we established that. Your turn to repent.
I'm sorry to Twitter. When they changed the font over, that update when they changed the font over, they also 100% put more ads into Twitter. And I started blocking all of the brand, like, you know, like the explicit brand Twitters, like the sub brands that they definitely only use for promoting, so that if someone blocks them, it's fine. Like Bank of America saves. At BOA saves, like, that's fine, but Bank of America is still there. I've blocked so many of them. I think I'm up to 500 now.
Oh my God.
And I'm sorry that I blocked them, but fuck you, Twitter, for trying to extract money from me.
As a tech journalist, I cannot confirm nor deny these claims about Twitter, but the brand ads are a lot.
I think it's anecdotal. And I also know that blocking them doesn't actually take the promoted away. And when I reload it, it just puts another thing in there, so it's not actually changing anything. I need to scroll past it for my app to register I've seen the promoted ad. Like, I know how it works, but like, fuck them. And I'm sorry that you are being such a jerk to me, Twitter. I'm trying to put boundaries in there. But like, I think also, thank you, Twitter, for doing this, because I think it's actually broken a lot of the hold that has been over me. I've wanted to be like Twitter famous since I was like in college, and now I'm realizing how bad it is by how many promoted tweets there are.
I think the cool thing on Twitter now is to have like 5,000 followers. Exactly.
I'm working on it, baby.
Yeah, if you get like one more follower, you won't be cool anymore. But in this moment, I think, you know, we did our internet Yom Kippur. We can eat now. We fasted. There's some bagels.
Hell yeah.
So my next internet sin is that I'm stealing Eric's bit, which is with a Pitocine, what's your favorite Pokemon? And then I say something nice about you, which is a podcast that Eric made during the pandemic where he tells people about their favorite Pokemon and then says something nice to them. So gonna do that here, and we're gonna talk about Mammo Swine because Eric likes Mammo Swine.
Yeah, shout out to Mammo Swine. I didn't know that I was going to love so many later series Pokemon, but like my favorite Pokemon are all after like Gen 4, I think. Mammo Swine, Golurk, who's just a Golem Pokemon, and then Vanillux, the Vanillish line, who's just ice cream. So like, I didn't know, but shout out to all of them.
Shout out to all of them. And so first off, you dropped a link here to a Griffin McElroy status where he says bust on through with Mammo Swine, which I thought you made that up because you say that on the House Breakfast stream. Shout out to House Breakfast.
He actually didn't make it up.
Oh.
The thing that made me really fall in love with Pokemon is the Nuzlocke run that Griffin McElroy did on Polygon a bunch of years ago, where I learned what a Nuzlocke was, and I realized you could make like very interesting, silly content involving video games in this way. He did a Pokemon X and Y run, and they say that in X and Y. There's a part, I don't remember what it is. I haven't played that because I never had a DS, but you need to jump on a Mamoswine who will then bust on through some snow and ice to get to the new place. So one of the NPCs says bust on through with Mamoswine, but Griffin said it so much that now it's in my brain and I say bust on through with Mamoswine.
Oh man, I did not know that. I'm so glad that an NPC says bust on through with Mamoswine. But so, in case you didn't know, Mamoswine is a combination of a mammoth and a swine.
Yep, love him. What a good boy.
In Japanese, it's called Mammu. Bulbapedia described it as a mashup of mammoth and the onomatopoeia of the noise that pigs make.
I love the Japanese names. They're perfect.
Was it cows, maybe, instead of pigs, because it's moo? I don't know. And I'm like, did I write this wrong?
That's fine. That's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, so as you noted, Mammo Swine is a later evolution of Piloswine, which is an evolution of Swine Up. And it is like a woolly mammoth, which is an ancient creature. And as the description from Pokemon Platinum said, a frozen one was dug up from soil dating back 10,000 years. It woke up to much amazement.
Beautiful. Mamoswine is one of my favorites because it does one of my favorite things of Pokemon world building, which is alluding to the real world, but not realizing the ramifications of what that means in the Pokemon world. They're like, yeah, it's a mammoth. But then it's like, we've been looking up Pokemon for 10,000 years? What is it? That's wild!
Yes, and speaking of Pokemon world building and promoting more content in the Eric Silver universe, you did an Exolore episode about this, about Pokemon world building and how wild it is. And I thought it was great content.
Thank you. I just think it's absolute nonsense, and it's obvious that, like, there's no continuity. So that's why I love doing this so much and looking at the Pokemon indexes and seeing, like, what is important about this Pokemon to the, like, revolving writer's room of Pokemon writers. And apparently this is an ancient Pokemon, which is very funny to me.
Mamoswine can only evolve from Piloswine if it knows the move Ancient Power.
Beautiful. Mwah. Love it. Love non-traditional evolutions.
Yes, and this is the same non-traditional evolution as Licky Licky, the evolution of Lickitung, which only evolves when it knows Rollout. But that doesn't make the same narrative sense as evolving because you know Ancient Power and you're supposed to be like a 10,000-year-old Pokemon.
Though that does trigger another thing in my brain, which is Brian David Gilbert's new Pokemon rap, which is Lickitung and Licky Licky.
Yes, that is extremely important. And in New Pokemon Snap, great game, it says, the cold of the snowfields have hardened Mamoswine's icy tusks, making them strong enough to withstand even Beartic's claws. Swinub feel much safer when they're with Mamoswine.
I appreciate this because this gives me a moment to say that Beartic sucks, and it should be my favorite Pokemon because my favorite animals are bears, but the design of it sucks, and its pre-evolution, Cubchoo, is just a bear cub that has snot running out of its nose, and I think that's disgusting, and I'm very mad at Game Freak for not doing a better job.
Yeah, this is an anti-Cubchoo, anti-Beartic podcast. I just love that. Also, so some of the Pokemon descriptions talk about 10,000 years, and some of them talk about its appearance, and in Pokemon Shield it says, it looks strong and that's exactly what it is. As the weather grows colder, its ice tusks grow longer, thicker, and more impressive. And I just think that's a weird description. It looks strong and that's exactly what it is.
That feels like someone translated it directly from the Japanese, and I love that for you, translator.
And now I have to do the thing where I say something nice about you, which is that I'm very glad that you came on the podcast both this time and last time, because I think I've learned a lot from you about podcasting, and I enjoy your friendship, which is simultaneously now social and parasocial.
Yay!
Yay! How can you be in a simultaneous social and parasocial relationship with somebody?
I'm fine with that, honestly. I mean, like, I do want people to think I'm cool. That's nice. I hope you think I'm cool. But I realize that also, this is like something that I've noticed as being a teacher and a camp counselor on all of this stuff, is that it is a lot like this. Is like, you need someone, I'm not saying this about you, but I'm saying this about like being a accessible or rather small internet creator. Is like, I want people to think that I'm cool and not know everything about me, but at the same time, I do want to be personable and have a connection with other people. So, like, I think that this fits, and I think it's really nice, and I'm glad that you think that I'm knowledgeable and a nice person.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for being a nice person and a good content creator and podcaster. And you can plug stuff.
It's like, hey, listen to my podcast. Go listen to Join the Party. Follow Multitude. Follow me on Twitter at L_Silvero, EL_SILVERO. My name if I was a Lucha Libre wrestler. And bust on through with Mammo Swine. Bye.
Bye. Aw man, since Isabel's here, that means I have to do the end notes. I didn't make Eric do it, because, you know, that would be too much. But if you liked this episode, tell a friend. Word of mouth is how we grow, and maybe perhaps leave a review on iTunes. Thank you to everyone who left a review so far, and thank you to all of our Patreon patrons. Shout out to Zoe Stoller, Dan McKeon, and Bray specifically. Another shout out to Sam Rizer, who made our podcast music. You can find us online at wowiftrue.com or on Twitter as @wowifTruePod and Instagram and Facebook as @wowiftrue. If you want to throw us a couple of dollars, slide right into our Patreon at patreon.com/wowiftrue. If you've had your 15 seconds of fame or know someone who has, slide right into our Twitter DMs. And until next time, let's maybe get famous on the internet? I don't know. Do we still want to be famous on the internet? I mean, let's get famous on the internet. We need attention.